Hello, welcome to Co-ople Mode, a bonus episode that we're going to talk about the New Year's review.
New Year!
I'm Matt.
I'm Rose.
So we thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of sneak in. It's a new year. We should look back at the games we played and are still enjoying or want to enjoy, and look forward at things we might be looking forward to coming out.
I don't know any games coming out this year that I am looking forward to, but it'll be interesting to hear what you're excited about, because you'll probably tell me something that I will also get excited about.
You know, it is funny. When we were talking about doing this, I was like, what am I looking forward to? Oh my God. And I was like, okay, I got two that I'm thinking of right now. Okay, we're good. And I was like, okay, I got to kind of look up. I know there's some other games, some trailers I saw, and I'm like, that looks cool. I'm going to be excited to try it out. Can't remember what it's called. And I'm looking up and I'm like, actually, there's kind of a lot of games I'm kind of looking forward to, and some new things I heard about that I didn't know about. So I guess there are some things I'm excited about. It's hard because I get snuck up on by these little indie games this year.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy those, but you never hear about them until after they come out. Yeah.
Exactly. But I really appreciate that you've shown me quite a few of those, and that you do stay on the lookout for them, because some of my favorite games, I think, are those that you have shown me. They're just different. They're cool.
Yeah, they get to try something new, and it's always this nice condensed experience where you really get to feel the full force of the game,
sure.
Right? So why don't we start with looking back? Let's look back at this year of games or so.
Almost a whole year.
Yeah. Well, I guess honestly, we really put the podcast thought into process
a year ago.
Yep. So to us, it's been a year since we've been starting it. So let's look back. What are some games that you played, that have made you play this year, that you are still playing?
So I went back to look through the whole list, and as of right now, one that I'm still trying to get back to when I have a chance is obviously Nobody Saves the World. Yes. That's my most recent, I gotta get back to that. I'm almost to the end of that game. Yeah. Which I've kind of, this is funny, I've kind of pumped the brakes a little bit. You know how when I played, I think it was Skyward Sword. Yep. I got right to the end, and then I just never picked it up again because I didn't want it to be over. I kind of feel myself doing that with this game. I love it so much, and I know that I'm getting close to the end. I'm scared to start it up because I don't want it to end, even though I could literally go to the DLC. I could start it all over. Yeah. I love this game so much. I don't want to finish it, which I know sounds crazy. I think I will, because it's too fun.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Too fun.
And there's something satisfying about finishing a game too. I think it's funny because I remember this so vividly.
You made fun of me pretty hard.
We were both playing Skyward Sword, taking turns. You were a little further than me at one point.
I was hustling through that game.
And all of a sudden I realized you just stopped playing. I'm like, why did you stop playing? Because I went past you, beat the game, and you said that. It's I kind of don't want it to end. And I know Skyward
right
Sword
at the final boss, and I'm like, save.
You were right before the end, and you saved it and never picked it up. And it it's like, why did you do that?
To me, technically, in my heart, I made it all the way through.
Yeah, well, you did watch me when I went through the final boss, at least, so you know what happens.
I would love to play that one again.
Yeah, I
really enjoyed Skyward Sword.
I know sometimes it's kind of looked at as the black sheep of recent Zelda games.
I don't know why. I thought it was fantastic.
I enjoyed it a lot, and I really feel like it paved the way for Breath of the Wild. So yeah, I don't. Yeah. I think, I don't know. Everybody's got their own favorites. No judgments.
I really have a special spot in my heart for Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. Yeah, I really do. I would put those above Wind Waker for myself, even.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love a lot of things Wind Waker does, but at the same time, it seems really annoying to me. I mean, you know how Wind Waker is. It's a love-hate relationship there. They did so much that's good. It's just very tedious at points, which is kind of necessary. I'm not hating on them for it, but I still like it. I still think it's done really well.
I
just like the others more.
They really fixed it when they did the remaster.
Yeah, you had told me that.
Where you can eventually get a sail that will automatically change the wind to the direction you're sailing, and that helps alleviate some of that annoyance you get of like, okay, I gotta stop. Ding dong dong. Wind go this way, like, so I can sail where I want to sail.
First time I played Wind Waker, I really was thorough in sailing around and finding all the extra stuff, the treasures, and so it was a lot of hours. It was a lot of time. So I think I think to me, I'm like, I did that. I'm good.
Yeah,
I don't need to do it again.
That's fair. I honestly, almost every Zelda game, I appreciate it for the uniqueness each one brings to the franchise as a whole. Each one has kind of its own thing that's kind of fun to think about. But we better get back. We'll keep talking about Zelda this whole episode.
Inscription, obviously.
Ooh,
I have gotten to revisit that one. And honestly, I just like going through that beginning first stage.
It's so good.
It's so much fun. I love that card game. I love the vibe and the experience.
Yep.
And it's kind of fun to go back and do it again because you do know more of the secrets. And so you can set yourself up a little bit better, a little bit faster when you play. It's still, the best part about it though, man, it's still hard beating.
It's really hard starting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and I love that about that. You can know what to do or how to play really well, but it still kind of comes down to luck of the draw and chance of the cards.
Yep.
And that guy still cheats every time. So
I know.
It's fun though. It's fun to do. I think that for me makes it really enjoyable to come back and do again.
Definitely.
The way it's set up, you can play this game over and over.
Oh, I know.
I loved this game.
I enjoy it a lot. I'm excited to go back and hit it again when I have a chance.
Yeah, I want to play it all the way through again at some point.
Yeah.
And try to do it a little bit differently when you get into the second and third stages.
I'm honestly tempted to just throw that mod on there that just lets you play that beginning over and over again.
I'd like to beat it again all the way first before I do that.
Yeah, that's...
Just because when you get into the second stage, you can choose a faction, go a different route. Don't rob yourself of that experience.
Just that old Game Boy Pokemon trading card game vibe. And that's just like a nostalgia thing for me. I love that. Oh.
Another big one, Monster Hunter.
Oh, I know.
I wish you and I had more time to play together because I absolutely love playing Monster Hunter with you. And I love, like, oh man, I've gotten such cool armor and weapons and everything. And there's always more to do, more to see. I love that game. I'm so glad that you showed me Monster Hunter because you have tried before and I didn't take to it. And this one got me so... Oh, I love it.
I mean it. Like if you love Monster Hunter and there is somebody in your life you want to try to get into Monster Hunter,
make them play this one.
World is probably the best entry point.
Yep.
It really, really is. And I can't recommend that highly enough. I hope that they do get a World 2 out now. It would be exciting to see.
That would be very exciting.
And I will never say no to more Monster Hunter in my life. And I'm glad it finally clicked because I understand how excited I was when it finally clicked for me. And I swear there isn't a week that goes by that's like, oh man, I wish we could get back into Monster Hunter. And it's hard because like we're trying to play all these things. I'm trying to play things. I just,
I both work. I thought about it last night, but then it was like 10 o'clock and you were falling asleep. And I was like, oh no, it's not going to happen tonight. No monster hunting tonight.
It's gonna happen soon. It will. We
gotta get to that Iceborne DLC stuff a little bit more. I'm excited for that. It's a whole new world.
I have some other exciting things in mind too coming up, so we'll see.
Another one that I really want to get back to more than what I have been able to is Demeo.
Oh yeah,
I really loved Demeo a lot.
Yep.
And I love that I got through one of those levels all the way, and I really want to get through the other levels all the way through and beat the final bosses in them. I've wanted to play with like friends, and it's time thing, but I would love to play that with you again too.
Yeah, It really...
I am willing to sit there with that headset on my head for 4 hours because I like it so much.
It really is a case of, like Monster Hunter, it's a good game, but it's going to take time. It's like, I mean, to get through a whole campaign is like 3 hours, you know?
Yeah, that's how long it took me. But I mean, I also really took my time too.
That's true. It probably could be, you know, 1.5 to 2. But maybe, you know, if you really...
little faster. That's kind of a funny point, actually, because we've been talking about this a lot lately. I do like to go in guns blazing in a lot of games.
Yep.
This game I'm a lot more patient with, and I take my time clearing out every room as I go, and I will go through the whole area and make sure everything's cleared out before I really try to hit that final boss at the end, because it makes it easier to focus on that then.
You know, and not to make you want to play more, but they did announce the new campaign and the new character. It is a barbarian.
Yeah, you did tell me about the barbarian.
Yeah, so I think it would be very interesting.
Is it out?
I have to double check. It was announced. It probably is out by now.
I feel like I got to play that today. I really do.
Maybe we can sneak that in today.
We got to. Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Woo!
Same
difference.
Have come back to that one a couple times when I've been able. Actually, we bought Pokemon Violet and I tried that once, and then after that I put it down and I went back to Arceus because I'm at a decent point in that game. I also know where I still haven't caught that stupid Togepi, and I know where he is. I'm going to catch that Togepi. And I'm going to get a Togetic in this one Pokemon game. It's going to happen for me. I don't care how many times I got to try. I'm going to get that guy. Yep. I'm going to get that adorable, powerful little dude. He will be on my party.
That is just one of the ones that you see that you can't let it go. You love Togepi.
Dude, Togetic and then Togekiss. Togekiss will just wreck you. And it's beautiful and cute and powerful. So Pokemon Legends, I've really enjoyed that game. I really like how they streamlined going from battling to running around, how you can move through your items a lot faster. There are still a few points of menus that are a little goofy. It's not perfect, but I do like a lot of things that they did. I enjoy the world. I'm enjoying the variety of Pokemon. It's a good mix of old and new.
Yep.
For me, because when there's too many new Pokemon and you're not getting all of your old favorites, it's not quite as much fun for us, I think, because we're older and we remember the originals.
Yeah.
I think for younger people, it's a little better.
Yeah.
We like that mixture of old and new. Like, I want to see some of my favorites, but ooh, what's this goofy looking purple guy over here?
Yeah, I like a few new ones to discover.
Yeah.
And I just saw they have technically 1,008 Pokemon.
Yeah, that's wild.
I remember when I thought I was cool for knowing all 151 Pokemon by heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been, and that's how long it's been.
That kind of made me proud of myself that I can recognize any Pokemon at this point. When you have 1,000, that's...
Yeah, you recognize them. You don't always know the name right on the dot.
Because sometimes our son's like, who's this? Who's this? And even if it takes me at like a couple seconds, I usually get there or I have a basic idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Luckily, they make their naming system pretty easy.
Yeah. You're right.
Lechonk.
You know what I found out just recently is that in the original Red and Blue, Pikachu was supposed to have a second stage evolution, a third evolution. It was supposed to go like Pikachu, Raichu, and it was supposed to be like Go Raichu. And he was supposed to have horns and be spiky. Like the character is actually buried in some of the files, like in old files that they have. Yep. But they couldn't fit it in because the game was so big because they had so much in it and they only had so much memory space back in the day that they like, okay, we got to cut. We can't cut one of the 3 main ones. They have to have that. He was supposed to be the first electric type to have another stage afterwards. That was the plan.
You couldn't cut out one of the stupid ones? Like,
you got to remember, at the time, they didn't know Pikachu wasn't the main line. There wasn't a main Pokemon.
I know, but okay, let's put it this way. You got a little electric mouse, or you have a green Peapod. Which one do you want to cut?
Don't be dissing on Metapod now.
Which one are you going to cut? The electric mouse or the Peapod?
Oh, my. I think if I was going to cut one,
I'd cut the pea pod.
I would have cut one of the birds. You have the Pidgey line, and then you have the Spearow line. Why do we need 2 birds?
You need the 2 different choices so that people can choose their favorite.
They're both flying type.
Yeah, but see, some people... Okay, now...
Okay, no, let's talk about grass type then.
No. First, let's finish the bird talk. Because you know there are people that are like Pidgeotto all the way, and you know that the other half are like Fearow every time.
They're wrong.
I go back and forth. I'm a slut.
I like all the original 150. I can't be that mean.
Well, they're both in the 150.
Yeah, they're both the OGs.
So why are you dissing on Fearow?
Because if you're gonna get rid, if the whole plan was to have a 3-stage electric Pokemon type, you have a 3-stage bird type. Why do we need another 2-stage bird type?
Because Fearow's cool, man, and you need choices.
All right, then get rid of Diglett.
I'm okay with that. Diglett kind of sucks. He's cool, but he kind of sucks.
But he has that buff body underneath. That's what all the art shows.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's... How usable is Diglett, actually? That's all I'm saying.
Well, if they... Talking about specifically the original game mechanics and how they didn't quite work exactly how they were supposed to. His type advantage, ground type, is pretty good for some Pokemon, but there was only so many fighting types.
It's not good against Leaf. It's not good against Water. It's good against Electric. That's it.
And flying.
Yep.
And fighting.
How many fighting Pokemon are there? There's barely any fighting Pokemon in
Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan.
That's it.
Machamp.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not a thing that comes up a lot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they really threw fighting type on a lot more Pokemon.
We're not arguing about Pokemon the rest of the day.
I'm just firing her up on purpose.
Yeah. The next game that I have come back to, you got me all flustered talking about Pokemon. I love it. I feel all fired up in my soul. I gotta relax.
Good discussion.
Slime Rancher. Slime Rancher.
Yeah.
And
the feel-good game.
I kind of realized, I'm like, I haven't even gotten to try Slime Rancher 2 yet. Mm-hmm. And I kind of want to, but at the same time, I'm scared it's on your list and that I shouldn't start it up.
You know, I haven't put it on my list specifically.
You could have told me that. I could have been playing Slime Rancher 2 this whole time.
Well, here's the thing. It's early access. It's not fully released.
Oh, that's right.
And if you haven't played it, this is the thing. This is the choice you can make. You can start playing it now if you want. I'm totally okay with that, and I get it. More Slime Rancher is a good thing, but if you are willing to wait, I guarantee that I am going to make you play the second one when it comes full release.
I think I kind of want to wait till it's done.
See, this is what I usually do when these games come out, because they came out in early access. I played everything they had to offer, and a lot of times at that point, I'm willing to wait until it fully comes out, because then I get to see the changes they made up until that point. And then I get the full game. Like it's kind of fun to experience what they had, and then they take that community feedback, and then all of a sudden you get to see the polished gem that comes out in the end. So I'm okay with waiting right now, unless I see a post that just says something super cool and I have to go back in and try it.
Check it out.
But I am okay with waiting. I have enough on my plate right now that I am okay with waiting. But man, that is my feel good game. You know, like just going around and checking things out, grabbing new slimes, and finding all the fun nooks and crannies. That is a good game.
It's enjoyable. Especially because there's so much customization there that you can do. I mean, up to a point, but it does seem like it's never ending on the exploration and just looking around.
Yep.
There's some areas that I really could dive into so much more than what I have. And it's also just relaxing. Again, just the most relaxing game. I think the only other game that I find more relaxing than that is Tetris. Tetris relaxes. The Tetris effect, that puts me in a good zone.
Yeah, it's like relaxing, but it can get into like an intense relaxation. But like after you finish that intenseness, it's like you tense your whole body up and then you get back to that chill vibe, and like so much more stress just relieves.
Love it.
Oh, great game too, Tetris Effect. Oh, we're talking about good stuff, and it gets me all excited.
We're not going to know what to do when we're done here.
No.
What do I touch? What do I play? Another golden game that you showed me this year that I'm so thankful for is Vampire Survivors.
Oh, yeah.
Never get tired of it. lately you've been loading it up and your runs have lasted like somehow an hour long.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a chance to get in there, and you did offer it up last night. And at this point, you've gone so much further in it and gotten so many new items and new enhancements that I kind of feel a little lost in it now.
Yeah.
And I might actually start over again. I've been considering that in my head, just starting over on my profile right at the beginning and getting through it myself. You've unlocked almost everything at this point. We were working on it together quite a bit, and then you've kind of taken the baton lately.
Yeah, lately I want to unlock all the Arcana. Like, I'm working on unlocking all the original game stuff. There is a little DLC pack. The map is very cool.
And scary.
Yeah, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to focus on unlocking everything in the original, and then I want to move on to that. Like, even last night playing it, and I got to this point where I just kind of did a few random things. I, mix and match some things I don't always go for, and I'm just standing there. I literally... Nothing could kill me, and I just stood there, and I put the controller down, and I went and kind of snuggled up next to Rose, and we were watching.
I looked over, and I'm like, you're not even holding the controller. He's like, I can't die right now. I just kind of have to wait it out.
Yeah, awesome. I just needed to get to level 50, and then I needed to die, and I couldn't.
That's the way to play.
And that, like, there's just something satisfying about that happening. And I can understand wanting to start a new game. And I want to say, like, you can get it on Steam. It's on Game Pass.
You can get it on your phone.
Yep, iOS and Android. It's free. You can download this game for free. Worth it. And the guy is a very not into monetization. The only time you ever see ads are if you want to revive yourself or to multiply the gold you get after a run. That's it. It is... like the epitome of a perfect mobile handheld game that you can really get into, and you don't feel like I'm getting an ad shoved into my face every 3 seconds, or I gotta pay $30 to get this extra rare gotcha drop.
Yeah.
F all that. Shout out to Vampire Survivors. Shout out to the guy who's making this and putting the time in. I appreciate you. I really do. You are on my my vibe. That's exactly how I feel, and I appreciate that. Oh, love it.
So those are the games that I've come back to.
Yeah.
Those are the games. There's a few that I think if I didn't have all of these in the forefront of my mind, I would probably come back to Hitman, but it's pretty low on the list. Okay. I did enjoy Hitman a lot. But
I see that game and I want to play it again, but then there's always something else I want to do. You know? Like
I said, even these, I haven't even really had time to get back to like Demeo and Monster Hunter with you.
Yep.
But these are the ones that I do try to get back to, that I always consider. And then I have some of my own personal favorites that once in a while, like I've played a couple of rounds in Northgard, but Northgard has gotten so much added to it since I've started playing it a few years ago that it's a little overwhelming. I swear the difficulty is so much harder on the PC than what it is on the Switch. And I like playing on the PC because you can micromanage more, but man, every time I load it up, I just get my butt kicked, which is fine.
It is a hard game. Don't you like?
Well, it isn't. It isn't. Like, I'm usually doing pretty well. It's also, it's a time sink. You're gonna put in a few hours.
Yeah.
To play, because it's fun to play on a bigger map with more enemies. You know, if you really got to get that itch, I suppose I could go to a small. But I like having a bigger map, all the different resources that you can try to grab. I love that panic feeling. Like, I love trying to encompass everything and be efficient about it. That just gets me going. Yeah,
there is something good about when you built the right things at the right time and it just works and you just see yourself building up and you're like, I did it right. Because the last 3 games, you built the wrong thing. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm struggling. I'm going to die this winter.
They've just added the Clan of the Eagle.
Yep.
Which I played one time. And that was very interesting. I'm impressed by how they can keep making new clans and keep coming up with new mechanics that work well in the game. And it's just grown so much.
And it still feels generally pretty balanced. Like, I don't feel like any one clan is overly more powerful.
No, they're probably the most impressive at balancing. I mean, everybody has an area of weakness and everyone has, although I will say there are some clans that have such an advantage in a certain way that it is not that it's easy for them to win, but it's really hard to go up against them.
Yeah.
It's hard to break through their wall.
Okay. I would put it like this. When you think of Northgard, there's essentially an early game, a mid game, and a late game, right? There's the early game where you're building up.
Yes.
Some people are really good at that early game where they can build up quick enough that they could actually start attacking you and preventing you from getting to that mid game area, right? There's some that, like, if you get to that mid game, then you hit that clan stride, and some is like you got to survive until that end, but once you hit that end, nothing's going to stop you. So, like, certain clans against each other, one might have an advantage at different parts of the game. It's just, can you survive to that point? And I really feel like that's how they balanced it. Like, hey, like, I like the bear clan. You can get that bear that, like, makes you so defensive, but you kind of have to turtle the game and slowly build out because you don't have a really good way to attack. Just a great way to defend until the late game.
I actually think quite differently than that with the
really?
bear clan. The bear clan, every animal that you kill on the map, like the wolves and the other wild bears, you get meat for. I mean, you can really zoom as the bear clan.
If you have enough around. That's a tiny boost, I feel like, personally.
No, there's wolf dens all over the maps all the time. You need to take advantage of the right things with the right clan. And that's what I was going to say too, is I think with how different they're coming out with these clans and the different strengths and weaknesses that they have, I think the problem that I'm having is being unwilling to go for a different type of victory. And I think the most important way that you can play that game now is scouting out what clans are on that map when you start, knowing which ones they are, and then deciding, how am I going to win this? Is it going to be a trade victory, a lore victory, a battle victory? I think you have to play accordingly to who you get matched up with, and that's how you have to win, which is also hard depending on what clan you have chosen.
Yeah, right?
Because if you're the Raven clan, getting a trade victory is going to be easy as hell. But if you are, let's see, the Goat clan or which one is it? There's one that I play a lot where you can't run ships. Oh, the Kraken clan, you can't have harbors.
Because you have a crack. Yeah.
So you're not going to get a trade victory very easily being that clan.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's mostly, they've made it a lot more complicated and a lot more strategic over time, even more so than what it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
They've done a fantastic job.
I think that they really...
I kind of want them to stop adding to it because I think it's... You know, I mean, how much can you really put in where it's going to get so overwhelming?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a certain point you have to stop, but I also do appreciate that they really have put the time into, like, keeping the life of this game alive.
They have. I started playing it 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, they kept it fresh and new and exciting and fun to play.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
For anybody who hasn't listened to another episode of this podcast, Northgard is one of Rose's original 5 favorites.
There's more than 5.
Okay, 7. So what else do we want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to ask you what you've played this year that you've enjoyed.
Okay,
because you play a lot more than what I play.
Well, okay. First and foremost, I just gotta say Elden Ring. Oh, it is so good. I have been picking it up and kind of playing it again. It's been a while since I've done it. And so quickly, I was getting my butt whooped. Don't get me wrong, because I was in a high level area and like jump right back in there can be tough. But just how good this game is impressive. Like, it's so good. And I'm so happy I have it. I love playing that. That's definitely up there. And it came out so early in the year.
Yeah, you've really gotten a nice year.
I mean, they did win Game of the Year, and not without good reason. This game is amazing. Definitely, high on my list.
It looks beautiful when I see you play it.
Yeah. Vampire Survivors is one of the ones I really remember. I keep coming back and just doing a run. I'll definitely up there. I just recently started God of War for the first time. It came out on PC and I finally picked it up, and it is such a beautiful, interesting game, and it's been a while since a narrative of a game really kind of captured me, which is funny because you go and play the original God of War releases and it was just about being just brutal, rough,
beefcake,
sexy. Like there's literally like a sex mini game. Like it was this whole thing. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it does the whole old movie things where they like pan away to the curtains and you like have to, it's a quick time button press thing and you get experience points for it. There's usually one early on in every game, which is ridiculous. But like this game is so much more emotional and it's kind of about Kratos learning to be a father. Like he's this strict, hard man. He has been his whole life. He's gotten older. He's gotten more control over himself. And he's trying to make sure that his son can have control over himself. And you see him, he wants to like reach out and connect with him, but he doesn't know how. He was a Spartan. That's not how they did things. They trained the hell out of the boys to make sure they could survive and become great warriors. That was the whole Spartan thing. And he doesn't quite want to do that, but he doesn't quite know what else to do.
Oh my gosh, I see this game just totally reaching into a ton of men's trauma as you're playing and everybody's crying.
Yeah,
oh,
I think there's just that special connection, and if you're a father, like it just kind of hits a little harder because you're like, just pat his back, like you try to comfort him. I know you want to. But so I'm really enjoying that. I actually was messing around. I was like, I gotta, we've been thinking about maybe streaming a little bit, and I was doing some test stuff on our YouTube channel where I was like, here, I can do God of War on the PC and I could stream myself playing it for the first time. So maybe when I get a chance, I'll like jump in and do that,
Yeah.
And I think that would be interesting. I also have been playing recently this little game called Dome Keeper.
Okay.
It is kind of a rogue light because it's not, you unlock things as you do runs, but it's more about unlocking different things you get for the run. Like each run, I haven't ran into any like passive bonuses between runs that'll happen, kind of, but essentially you're in this dome that like lands on this alien planet and you're a miner and you go under the dome and you have to mine for resources that you use to upgrade your miner and upgrade your dome. Your dome has a laser on it because these monsters and creatures will come and attack your dome. Yeah. So essentially there's like an artifact you have to find that's buried underneath you that you have to find and bring back up into your dome to complete the run. But there's always waves of enemies that come every so often. You can buy an equipment that'll let you know when the next wave's going to show up. So you want to get up into that dome.
That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, and like the materials have weight, so you can only carry so much back at a time. But if you upgrade your miner, you can bring more, and there's like cool little upgrades you can find. One's a dinosaur called Drillbert, and you can throw him down and he'll just start drilling in an area you left him in. There's like an elevator that will bring resources up at regular intervals. A sonar, so you can hit that, and then anything that the circle hits, it'll display if there's actually a material there you can get, which I really like. And I think a really nice thing that they do is if you fail, if your dome dies, you can restart a new run right away, and you can keep one of the gadgets you collected, like the sonar or Drillbert or a mine that blows up a huge chunk of, of the underground. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. Like I just come into a run. There's every time you finish a run, you get to unlock a new thing. There's a second kind of dome with a sword on it instead of a laser. There's a second kind of miner. You can have a different kind of run where you're just trying to survive against waves of enemies for as long as possible. And it's just kind of fun. I'm interested to see what else they might add in the future and see how it goes. But just a fun little experience, definitely worth a shot. And that's kind of the big things and most recent things I've been playing. Oh, I suppose all the games I've been making you play.
That you've revisited for me.
I did, like I said, during our Legend of Zelda Link to a Past episode, I did go through and beat that again. I beat Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls again. So I guess it's
just
funny.
Rub it in my face a little bit more, why don't you?
I'm not trying to rub it in.
The first boss, but I beat it again. Again.
It's funny how now that I think about it, I have this weird divide in my head of like, okay, I'm playing games that I'm making you play, And those are those games. And then there's the other games I'm playing.
Yeah.
Which, even though I say that, I still went and played through and beat 2 of them. You know.
That's why you're doing this podcast. You're a real gamer.
I'm a real gamer.
So what are you looking forward to coming out this next year?
Okay.
We were talking about that. And then I was like, I don't think I have anything. I thought of one while we've been talking.
Yeah.
We saw Video Game Donkey's preview for the game that he's helping produce, right?
Oh, yeah. Big Mode. That's the company,
That's the only one that I know of that's coming out that I will play. I would like to play that game because it looked really cool, and I'm excited for the creator of that game and for Donkey.
What was it called? I should go on Steam and
We're going to have to look it up.
It looks kind of like a little bit platformy, which Video Game Donkey is. He loves a good platformer. He
seems like a platformer.
Yeah,
boy.
he loves those. It kind of seems like a little bit Celeste and a little bit exploring, very like retro graphics, but it did look very interesting, and I'm excited to see how it turns out, especially with an indie game. They really, like we said, like they can kind of take games in a little different direction and experiment with it, because it's not the end of the world if they make a mistake.
I think it's mostly that there's not pressure. I mean, we were talking about like Far Cry 3, Halo, you got the Call of Duty games. Like, they have to be somewhat similar. They can't go as imaginative and crazy with what they put out next. It's got to tie in with the others. They don't get the freedom that indie game developers have. Especially
when you got a big publisher right there. Is like, it's got to be like down your this. Neck. Yeah, it can be tough sometimes.
Yep. Dance Monkey, make the same thing but different.
So when I was looking up stuff, I was surprised by how many things I was actually excited about.
That's good.
Obviously, first and foremost, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is coming out this year.
It is?
It is coming out this year. It's set for a May release currently.
For my birthday.
For your birthday. Or anniversary, whichever one. And that one I'm just excited about. I'm excited for more Breath of the Wild, and I want to see what kind of tweaks they make to it. I'm interested in it. I think it was such a good game, and it reminded me, it's like, oh man, I really gotta, I do have a plan to make you play that one eventually, so you can actually have time and an excuse to play it instead of getting the
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, you played a tiny little bit, but our son likes to commandeer it when Zelda shows up.
No. That was a 3-person
and me.
That
and
was
me.
a trifecta of people pulling and trying to get that switch. We need
more switches.
There have been times when I've thought, man, if I had another switch though. But yeah, it was you and him. Like, all 3 of us were trying to play that one same game at the same time. And I was willing,
that doesn't work.
I was willing to let it go. Like, I'll get a chance. I did not get a chance.
And then you move on to something else. Like, that's happened to me. Like,
well, I mean, because I did get to start it.
Yep.
And then after a while, it's been so long, you're like, I don't know if I want to try to even continue or if I should start over. But like, I put in a little bit of time where I don't really want to. I think if I had to do it now, I would just start over. And I've thought about doing that just so I can really flow through the experience. But I mean, it happens. Even like with Pokemon and stuff, I've learned to be patient and wait, especially if it's for somebody else in this house that's super excited about it as well.
Yep.
I'm usually okay with that because I have a lot of other things I also like to do. I can pivot pretty easily for the most part.
Yeah.
But I would love to come and play that through. So I'm kind of embarrassed for someone who loves Zelda games as much as I have that I have not played Breath of the Wild, because it's supposed to be like the best one too.
Yeah. And it's hard because I think Breath of the Wild can be a little tough to jump back in if you're further in the game.
I think I would.
That's why I do always appreciate when you do get the big games like that make it very easy to just jump back in and play again.
Yeah.
And that's not always possible. That's not how it works. But Zelda is very good. I think if you played enough of Breath of the Wild, like if you actually got far enough, it's easier to jump back in the more you played. Mm-hmm. But definitely it is. I think it would be a restart. It to that point. The next thing that I thought about was Starfield, the new Bethesda game, is coming out. This is supposed to be coming out this year, and nicely enough, it should be coming out on Xbox Game Pass, and I can, just dig into that without feeling like I'm worried about it. I'm intrigued by it. It's basically a Space Elder Scrolls is as far as we know with some, not exactly. I'm sure it's not exactly,
No,
but
right.
if you know a Bethesda game like Fallout or Skyrim, you know a certain level to expect. And I'm kind of interested to see how they handle it. I'm just, I kind of just want to experience it. I'm not like, I have to play it, but I do love Bethesda games. And I do love the fact that even though they don't release super often, they make these big games that some people they love. People are still playing Skyrim. And I know there's been a billion releases of Skyrim. And even Fallout, like a Fallout 76 was their online multiplayer Fallout, which died on launch pretty much, but they kept at it and kept adding to it and tweaking it. And there's a community around it that is still playing it regularly. And that makes me happy. They put some time and love into it and they made it better. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate that they take the time, time to make these big, intensive games that people can really spend a lot of time on. You spend 60, 70, $80 and then you got a year's worth of content to play and experience. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm also excited about Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Really?
Yeah, it is the sequel to Star Wars Fallen Order. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the original name. I think that's right. Basically, it is the Dark Souls Star Wars game.
Give yourself some grace for forgetting. I mean, how many freaking Star Wars games are there?
That is a fair point.
It's fine. It's okay.
Essentially, you play as Cal, and
who the hell is Cal?
I mean, he's to this game. He was made for this game. He was a Padawan when Order 66 went through, and he was hiding in the Empire, trying to lay low. And eventually, things happen. And he has to be thrust out into world and reconnect with the Force. But it's essentially a Star Wars game, but it kind of plays like Dark Souls. It's not easy. Not as hard as Dark Souls, I should say. Not that hard, but it is in that vein where when you take time to rest, the enemies respawn. Or so as long as you don't rest, they stay dead. But then you get levels, you unlock new abilities, new combos. It was really well done, and I'm excited to see how they can polish it up into this second one. Because there's one thing about video games, a lot of times the second or third iteration of a game is the best version of the game, which is sometimes very different compared to movies, where sometimes the first movie is the best one more often than not.
I think there's a few sequels out there that some people would argue that are better.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
it's pretty rare.
Yeah, I think just generally it seems to happen that way. Not always.
Right.
But I think games are definitely something we continue to polish and make better with every iteration, and I'm excited for that. And Final Fantasy 16 comes out this year. And here's the thing. I wasn't super into 15. I like Final Fantasy 14, the big MMO. That's a lot of fun, but I just do not have time for an MMO, unfortunately. And I love it. And I've been tempted to make you play it because you can start a free account and play for free up to level 60.
No, thank you.
But like I said, you have to put so much time into it.
Final Fantasy is not my jam.
The only reason that I am kind of excited about this one is it's essentially Final Fantasy kaiju battles.
Well, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, so they always have had summons in these games, but I think in this one you turn into a summon, a giant version of it. So there's a giant fire demon Ifrit, a giant Shiva ice goddess, all these huge monsters. So some of the fights you get into are as these kaiju, and that sounds choice and very interesting to me.
It sounds cool, but I could just go Gigamax a Pokemon.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yep, you're right. That's the same thing. Forget it. I'm gonna go back and play Sword and Shield. That gets me my kaiju battles. I love that.
Without having to go through the miles of dialogue in a Final Fantasy game.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm gonna wait and see. But that, just like I said, being able to turn into the summons sounds cool. And
it does.
That's one of those things that has always intrigued me. I remember I used to watch Digimon growing up, and I think it was like the 4th season the kids turned into Digimon, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
That's so much cooler than like, hey, my buddy gets to be this cool badass fighting Pokemon, and I get to stand there and go, believe in your heart, I love you, fight and win.
Yeah.
But in season 4, it's like, nope, I'm the badass now. And I thought that was just, I like kind of that transforming like into something cool.
That's your vibe.
Yeah, very much my vibe. Baldur's Gate 3 is supposed to fully release this year.
Oh.
And that's the Dungeons and Dragons game made by Larian Studios. And I know this is going to come out and like there's that whole open gaming license things with Wizards of the Coast and what nonsense. Like I get that. I'm not judging the company. I just like Dungeons and Dragons. I do. And I like this game, and I've been waiting to actually dig into it fully until the full release came out because we've only been able to play so much. So I'm excited for the full release and to be able to finally experience the full story. Another one that's coming out, Armored Core 6. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the Armored Core franchise.
Haven't.
Have you heard of From Software?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they made Armored Core. It was one of the early games they made before they got into the whole Bloodborne, Soulsborne, games. And
which game did I play that they made?
Dark Souls.
Oh.
Yep.
I blocked it out. I understand.
Yeah. They made Dark Souls. I remember playing Armored Core at my cousin's house on his PlayStation. I thought it was so cool. It's robots. You put guns in. You get to customize them. It's gotten a little more wild in more recent entries. I didn't get as deep into them, but I'm excited to see what they do now that they actually have a little money to really make it. Like this is one of their passion projects, these Armored Core franchise.
Okay.
And I think I'm really interested to see how they approach it and what comes out. And I'm a sucker for giant robots.
Yep.
I just am.
Gotta do it.
Yeah, they're like, even if it's not perfect, I could still play a good giant robot game as long as it's decent. Just because I get to be a cool big robot. Another one that I found, Dungeons 4. Now, I have Dungeons 1, 2, and 3, and it's like an RTS game where you're the evil lord and you're in a dungeon and you're building out and building traps as like heroes and their army are trying to come in and destroy your dungeon heart. Me and our son were playing it because he thought it was really interesting. You've probably seen us play Dungeons 3.
It sounds like the card game Boss Monster.
Yeah, in a way,
video game.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So you send your goblins to build out rooms for your different monsters you can recruit, and you can build, it's a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of Dungeon 3. So I was just really excited, like, oh, they're making a 4th one. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So I'm interested in seeing how that comes out. And these next 2 are just ones I heard about. I don't know if they're going to release this next year.
Okay.
One is Payday 3. I really loved Payday 2 a lot. And I played with my brothers quite a bit. Mm-hmm. It's just wild, crazy heists. And I am excited that they're making a 3rd one. And I hope they can sand out the rough edges that were in Payday 2.
Sure.
Because the rough edges and like some of the jankiness really threw most people off Payday.
Okay.
But if you could get past those, it was just a wild, fun ride you could have with friends. Definitely a game much better with other people. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to play with people. And, like, the intensity of, like, mid-robbery, you're trying to drill into the safe, and the police are just pouring in like zombies in Left 4 Dead. You're like, oh, my God! Like, some of the most adrenaline-inducing moments in gaming I've ever had. So much fun. And then this last one, it was just, like, a wild thing. Do you remember playing a game called Lollipop Chainsaw?
Yeah, a really long time ago.
Right? There is a remake, apparently, of Lollipop Chainsaw in the works. Now, for people who don't know, it was a hack and slash game in the vein of, I would say, Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, where you played as like this cheerleader and I think it was like a zombie infestation happened. But like you saved your boyfriend by essentially chopping off his head before the zombie virus got to his head, but he was still alive. So he's hanging
he talks to you.
Yeah.
That's actually a game that like the cover art kind of got me.
Yeah, that pop art.
And the style of, like you said, having zombies, but like this really cute cheerleader just slashing things.
Yeah, with the chainsaw swinging it around. Yeah.
Blood splattering everywhere. I was like, I kind of want to play this. And I didn't play it very long, but I think I kind of enjoyed it. I think it just was time consuming and I moved on to something else.
It's very much a game that's just about having fun, being goofy, and being silly. You know,
I remember it being funny.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this little preppy cheerleader girl who just loves her boyfriend, her high school jock boyfriend, and is going to go out and, she also killed monsters on the side with a chainsaw. Yeah. Why?
That's exciting. I'm kind of excited.
So I hope that like it gets to finish. I hope that they get to completely make that. It probably is going to be a 2024 game, but I am excited for that to happen because sometimes you just need a silly, fun game.
Yeah.
Just like being weird and silly and fun just for the sake of being weird and silly and fun. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I was like, Rose will like to hear about this one.
Yeah, that's cool. I forgot about that game.
I know. It's one of those things where like if someone brings it up, you 100% remember it.
Yeah.
But it'll just drop off the face of the earth when you're not thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, they never made a second one or anything.
I don't think
at the time I think we were too inundated with zombie games at the time because we had Left 4 Dead, we had zombie mode in the Call of Duty games.
Yep.
There was a lot that was kind of the thing for that time.
Yep.
So I think it bounced off and kind of got lost. It'll be good for it to come up now and see how it does. I'm hoping that it does well.
Yeah, very much in the essence of like No More Heroes, if you've ever played those games. Just kind of quirky, weird fun, you know?
I looked it up really quick. Animal Well is the name of the game that Big Mode, the company, is helping produce.
Oh, okay. So, Video Game Donkeys company Big Mode is helping publish.
Animal Well.
Yeah.
It looks like you get to be different animals, and there's... The thing that caught my eye was... It is a platformer, but it looks like the environment changes really drastically from place to place. Mm-hmm. And that's always fun. Platformers that have a variety in them are much more hookable, I think.
Yeah.
Than something that looks the same most of the time. So I'm excited for that. I definitely want to try that out.
Yeah, that's very cool. You know, it was just kind of...
That's a big year to look forward to.
Yeah, that's what I think was funny.
You had a lot
like,
more than I thought you would.
Yeah, I thought I was only going to have like 2 or 3. And then as I'm looking through this list of what's been announced, and I'm like, you know what? There's actually quite a bit more. Some of those, might not be coming out this year. A lot of them, I think about half of them have release date, like actual release dates this year.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's just kind of exciting to have some things to look forward to. And this has been just kind of fun to just talk about video games in general. We usually have to try to focus and we get distracted.
Now we can get distracted.
Yeah, it's okay in this case. Is there anything else you're curious about?
Well, you had asked me what the first game I ever played was. And I wanted to know, I think I know what your first game you ever played was.
What do you think my first game was?
Wasn't it? It was a Super Mario on the SNES, right? No. Okay. Was it Super Mario?
It was the original Super Mario.
Me too.
Yep.
Same thing.
I was 3 years old, and my parents like to do the trick where they plug you into second player or they don't plug you in. Oh yeah, you're playing. They were trying to trick me, but I was like, no, he ain't doing what I want. And eventually they had to give in and let me try it. Yeah. So I have some pictures of me when I was like 4 or 5 and I had broken my arm and I'm playing the original Nintendo, some old ninja game. But it was Super Mario was the first one I remember playing.
Yeah, me too. We had Super Mario and then we had Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. Those were the first 2 games that we had. And I was probably 4 or 5 when I was playing Super Mario. But having an older sibling, of course, I always had to be Luigi. She always had to be Mario.
It's okay. Luigi's the best.
But the thing that would frustrate me the most was my older sister was very good at timing it out just right, where I would try to jump over a hole in Super Mario, and she would pause it right when I'm at the apex. And of course, I would freak out because she would unpause it and I would fall. And if I had kept my finger on the controller, maybe it would have carried it through.
Yeah, you had to keep holding forward.
But of course, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna fall, and she used to hit me with that so much and always get me because I am just gullible and I was little, so That was a challenge.
Even I wasn't that mean.
Well, the funny thing is like, how mad can you get at her when I could have just been fine?
Yeah, if you just held going over.
But just couldn't figure that out.
Yeah.
I mean,
you were little then. That's okay.
Kind of like kicking myself there, really.
Yeah, you're like, God dang it, young me. Why didn't you know? Oh, goodness.
I think that's it, though.
Yeah, I don't.
Our review of our games that we've played, review of games that we're excited to play.
Yeah, and I think this will be kind of an exciting thing to do. And, just it's kind of fun to look back at the things we really enjoyed.
You have really made me open up my horizons on video games quite a bit. In 18 episodes, I have really experienced some things. Yeah. I think it's definitely helped me be a better gamer overall.
Yeah, yo.
And I'm excited to keep doing it and keep seeing what you bring to the table now.
Your video game education continues in 2023.
Yeah, I didn't know there was so much to learn.
There's a lot to this hobby. But I think we're going to have a lot of fun, and I'm just excited for more of it. And I think since this is a bonus episode, why don't we just head on out? I'm Matt.
And I'm Rose.
And this has been Co-ople Mode. And I hope you keep gaming with your bestie all throughout next year. Ta-ta!